My name is John Berg. Hi, my name is John Berg. Thanks for joining us. I lead strategy here at TechC, and thank you for joining us on this webinar. Before we introduce our panelists, we do want to say this webinar is being recorded, and the recording will be sent out afterwards. So if you have to leave us, we're sorry to see you go, but the recording will be available shortly. Furthermore, we encourage you to ask questions. So on the bottom there, you have the Q&A capability. Please ask your questions and we'll deal with them at the end of the webinar. At this point, I'd like to introduce our panelists. Chagai, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yes, thank you, John. My name is Chagai Ben-Avi. With TechC for 6 years now. I'm VP of Integrated Solutions.
Okay. And Renan, would you like to introduce yourself to our audience?
Yeah, sure. Hi, everyone. My name is Renan Shilman. I've been with TechC almost 5 years, and currently I'm VP of Research and Development in the company.
Fantastic. So for those of you that may be unaware, TechC offers a powerful suite, a platform for visual service automation. This includes a lot of the work that I've done with some of my partners in crime here on this call over the last couple of years, bringing visual AI to the market, our VI Studio, and lots of other capabilities. So today, let's just start off by reflecting on the state of the market today. AI is clearly having a moment. Why is there so much interest all of a sudden in AI? Renan, you want to start?
I think the big buzz and the big enthusiasm about AI currently is about the simplicity of it, meaning the start and the evaluation of the introduction of ChatGPT. So all the area of large language module, it's not something that is fairly new to the world, but the simplicity of it, the nice UI, the way that you consume and generate content based on the AI, this is the big punch and the big advantage in changes in the AI domain. So nowadays, it's fairly easy to generate content and to consume AI for your everyday use case, and they gain benefits immediately. So in my perspective, this is the way it's like kind of explode right now.
Sure. So let's unpack what you just said, because there were a lot of things in there. You were saying a lot of the interest from OpenAI and ChatGPT right now is that it became very easily accessible to everyday people. So whether it's through Microsoft or Bing or any of these other environments, it's very easy for people to access it. Can you tell us a little bit more about what a large language model is and how it works?
Yeah, sure. Without getting too much into the detail, but you can think of it as the evaluation of the NLP, meaning the natural language processing. And start in 2019, actually Google introduced to the world a new concept in AI called transformers. And transformers basically change the way we are doing and developing the NLP module and introduce the new concept of the LLM, making it more complex, more robust, high accuracy, low latency, reduce inference time, compute effort. So basically it was like NLP on steroids. And this is the way we're starting to see like exponential growth in the capability of the NLP domain in the form of what we call LLM, which is large language module.
Sure. So, I'll open this up to both of you. What have we seen so far in terms of our own testing in this domain, our own development, as well as the state of the art from some of the LLMs that are out there? Can they pass for a human being? Can they pass the Turing test? Are they accurate?
It's an interesting question because, a Turing test is the test that you can distinguish if you're talking to a human or to a machine. So how you quantify it or check if you're actually talking to a human or your machine, it's more like a philosophical question because it's a matter of perspective. Are you trying to get always the 100% accurate answer? What are the small mimics when you're talking to a machine or versus a human that makes you feel that you're actually communicating with a human or a machine, you know, like you pick up the phone to your friend and you ask a question, you don't know if his answer is 100% accurate, but it's accurate enough for you to gain the benefit, the confidence that you have the right information or the right knowledge that you try to get by asking the question. So in my perspective, this is the new updated Turing test in all the domain of the LLM. You want to ask the question and you get an answer that you feel confidence enough that you can use this information.
Yeah, the language
Right,
became
so-
less robotic, more human nuances inside, more human gestures came in. You don't feel like you get a robotic dictionary level response anymore. That's, I think, one of the major changes. You can even see right now students in universities submitting their home assignment just by using ChatGPT because it became so natural in the language of processing.
Right. At the same time, you know, I think when we talk about the, you know, ChatGPT, for example, or some of these very, you know, wide-reaching models or wide application models, they may not have specific domain expertise that would be required to provide a truly accurate answer, right? So in my experience, for example, I found that the ChatGPT will often provide very confident guidance, but sometimes it's incorrect.
Yeah, it's very much like a human, you know. It's humane to be mistaken, as long as you're accurate enough. And it's a matter of the games of the threshold. What is the percentage of the accurate and inaccurate information inside your response? And again, it's
Right.
correlated to the Turing test.
Right. There
So
has to be some
assuming that,
degree of trust here.
right. So, you know, assuming that the system can be trained to a level where it is as accurate as, let's say, you know, a well-trained support agent, what does automation mean for the enterprise? How should we be thinking about AI?
Okay, so the way that I can see it, at least for the support agent, it would be really interesting to see how ChatGPT will be incorporated into the existing decision-making system for agents today in CRM and in support system. How would it work next to next best action decisions logic inside the CRM? Will ChatGPT will it become right now another decision processor in this logic? An example, would it impact the way that Microsoft is utilizing today their Q&A, their questions and answers response or knowledge-based articles processing? This is really interesting to see how it plays out inside. On one level, this is for the agent. The other vertical is how will it impact the existing support chatbots? Meaning, will it change the entire way? Because right now you can sense that you are speaking with a robotic chatbot, which is not a human. Will ChatGPT go into this arena? This is actually really fascinating to see if it goes there or not.
So I love that thought. Let's zoom out for a minute and let's think about automation and not just LLM, right? So when we think about AI, you know, to me, the purpose of AI or the goal with AI is always to get to a point where you have automation. We're going to take some of that manual effort out, right? So, you know, in some of the conversations I've been having with prospects and customers and others in the industry, there's really a wide need for automation. Okay, this can be in your field service where your technicians or your contractors may not be experienced enough. How can automation help somebody out in the field to be more effective, do a better job, improve their first time fix rate? What does AI mean, you know, beyond the contact center?
Let's take field service technicians as a great example. One of the key issues that we know that customers are tackling today is the need to handle the long tail of technicians. Usually you have just a bunch of really senior technicians and the rest are more junior to mid-level. And then you need today the sophisticated or the highly trained or the veteran engineers to support all the rest of the field technicians. If ChatGPT would be able our generative AI as a concept would be able to respond back to the junior technician, just as though a senior technician is speaking with him. This would be amazing. Another issue, by the way, that we would like to see generative AI goes into is not only to understand words, but also to understand visuals. Because usually when you're speaking about field technicians, the problem is very visual, meaning they see wires plugged in the right way or not. They see LEDs, they see a specific set of configuration being deployed. They need someone to be able to analyze and then to tell them what to do next. So today they're just calling someone, they take some pictures, and they try to consult. So the combination of generative AI that actually it can replace the veteran engineer and the ability to understand what visually is happening, combination of these two can be really interesting in the market.
Okay, so, when we talk about whether we're talking about computer vision AI or generative AI, often some of the concerns that I hear expressed in the industry is that there's a lot of hype here. It sounds a little bit like the internet in 1999 or mobile phones in 2007. Anytime people talk about unlimited opportunity, but there isn't an awareness of the limitations, or the fact that it takes time to roll out these technologies and for people to adopt them, my antenna go up. In your mind, in your conversations, and I'll open this to both of you, is not just generative AI, but is visual AI, is the AI we're discussing today hype, or is this practical reality today?
Regarding the visual AI, I guess, because it's not something that actually part of the generative AI hype, it's something that is practical right now. Because if the generative AI is talking about, content generation and basically replacing something that a human was supposed to do or did and make it better or more creative, the visual AI domain is more like a co-pilot. It's a way to enhance human capability, make it better, make it stronger, make it more accurate, more precise. So in this way, and connect it into the automation aspect, this is very much practical because you want to get your technician, your field services, your customers, the ability to be more accurate, more precise, enhance them in a way that don't need to gain knowledge. They just need to be enhanced with some sort of smart eyes. And this is exactly what is visual AI. It's smart eyes for the masses. And the masses could be the customers, the field technician, the agents. It could be anything and everyone.
I resent the notion of having computer vision being treated as a part of the hype. I think that right now, at least 7 or 8 years backwards, computer vision AI is something that each and every one of us is using just on their smartphone. If you're using Google Photos or Apple Photos, that's an entire application that uses computer vision AI to create your cinematic photos, or to group your photos, or to tell a really nice story, or to be able to visually search them. You can see it, by the way, on Amazon, eBay, all the big e-commerce websites. You can search them visually today. Computer vision AI is far beyond the hype stage, and it is deep into the application level already for several years now.
Okay, so taking this from a practical perspective, let's think about this moving from a technical application into a real world business case. Can each of you provide some examples of how computer vision AI, whether it's partnered with an LLM or a GPT model, or as a standalone, is providing practical value today?
Yeah, sure. I can think of several examples. We talked about, the field technician, or let's say end user consumers. Even if you want to do some simple unboxing flow, you get a new device, you get a new, Google Pod, any router, whatever, and you want to establish it in your home without sending any technician. Some sort of visual AI can guide you. First of all, identify the device, then analyze its status, guide you how to connect it, verify it's connected correctly, we are on the era of IoTs, Internet of Things. Everything is connected to the internet. Everything is consumable, smart homes. This field is exploding, and it's not progressing enough with the way that human can support each other. So you need some sort of machine and artificial intelligence to support and guide you how to troubleshoot on unboxing it. And you can think of any use case that you feel like that each and every one of you, if you're a tech savvy or not, you would like any assistant to guide you without reading the manual and to try and to understand what I need to do. Just tell me what to do, guide me. Everyone wants and needs a good guide. And on the way on the field technician, like I said, you can enhance the technician with any capability, like resolving the problem quickly, understand which type of devices, if you like, using millions of devices or hundreds of types of device, what specific device is it, order the right parts. So I can think like a million more use cases in this. But Hagai, maybe you
Sure.
think of something else with another direction.
I can think about, we have several customers that, for example, home security systems or others that has been around for a few decades right now, and they have a long tail system that they still support. One of the biggest problems right now is to know which device is it, which device does the customer have. So usually they have some sort of a chatbot speaking with the customer. Now think about the fact that a chatbot with generative AI can speak with the customer, and instead of having the customer trying to explain to him what does he see on the screen or just which device is it, because devices really look alike. If you combine generative AI with the ability to open eyes for the generative AI and really understand what the customer is looking at, this can create a really unique opportunity, because generative AI is one piece. Understanding the end user, trying to describe something, that's a whole other challenge that we're, by the way, here at XC, we're trying to solve. Meaning generative AI can mimic a human, it can speak to you, it can tell you what to do, it can really pass the Turing test or almost pass it. But the end user at home, he doesn't have any technology. He's still trying to understand what he experiences, what does he see. So being able to bridge over this gap, and instead of having the customer speaking in so many words, explaining what does he see on his screen or on his wall at the house, just telling the generative AI, this is what we see, and then it can guide the customer correctly.
Okay, so I think we're, just to recap this, I think we're talking about, ultimately what we're starting to see here is a convergence when it relates to automation, and where generative AI or LLMs are increasingly lowering the barriers to entry by providing a more intuitive customer end user experience. Remember, the end user here can be a technician, an agent, or an end user, a customer. What the technology lacks is the ability to see something, to see specifically your device, your products, your solutions as a company, understand it, see that blinking light, understand what that means, and then guide the user. So ultimately what we're seeing is the ideal solution may be a hybrid solution. Now, where are you seeing, Hagai, you mentioned customers that are using this. Can you share some examples, without naming names, of Fortune 500 enterprises that have seen actual performance impact?
Yes, again, without going into specific customer names, as you mentioned, in the last 5 or 7 years, we see multiple countries doing projects of fiber to the house or 5G network installation. And they battle the same problem that we spoke just moments ago, a long tail of junior technicians and only just a bunch of really senior technicians. Now, they managed to actually tackle the KPIs for first-time fix or for unnecessary hardware swap when they combined, visual AI into the junior technician work. So think about it as follows. Instead of having the junior technician just close the work order, saying that I think that I got it right, that I installed it correctly, and then the customer calls in a day later, our customers actually, by combining us as the job validation, the visual job validation managed to get the first-time fix rate dramatically high. Now think about it, let's take it one step forward, that instead of calling a senior technician, they would be able to speak with generative AI to guide them through. And then add on top of it, by the way, generative AI has learned a lot from Wikipedia and other sites. But when you're talking about field technicians, you're talking about work manuals, installation manuals, configuration manuals. Now you need to crunch all of these into generative AI and combine the visual understanding what the manual is speaking about. So you can refer to the specific line in the manual, but then not to tell him, open the manual and read page 30 subsection C. It will actually say it in natural word, just as though the senior technician would have spoken to him, explaining him what to do. When you combine the visual understanding, generative AI that understands the installation procedure, and then being able to clearly articulate to the junior technician what to do in simple words. So you need to combine all three capabilities.
It's very interesting. You know, they say a picture is worth 1,000 words. There are different rates depending on where in the world somebody lives. But on average, a person can communicate about 150 words per minute. That means that if we include a visual as part of a service session, anytime that we can automate that understanding of that visual, we're removing about 6 minutes from that service interaction. And that's true, you know, in field service, you could be removing a dispatch entirely. So there's clearly a lot of value here. Now, Renan, as we speak to the market, or at least as I speak to the market, I found that there are many people positioning solutions like OCR as visual AI. Can you help us understand what the visual AI landscape looks like and what the difference is between a custom AI model versus, you know, OCR or a generic image library?
Yeah, sure. You know, OCR is very old, very antique. It's more like in the computer vision aspect prior to the artificial intelligence revolution and specifically the deep learning changes of it. The OCR is mainly focused on image to text, meaning you get an image of some sort of textual information. It's mainly aimed on printed information. It can handle some handwriting, but it's more like on other aspects. So you get the textual information of it. But on most cases, you don't want to extract the textual information from an image. You want to extract some insight from the image, actually, to understand what inside of the image. And to understand what inside of the image, you need to go deeper and to understand something that we call on the pixel level. On the pixel level, you want to start to identify the object, saying on a global level, is this an image of a dog? Is this an image of a cat? If you're familiar, you know, the Silicon Valley, is this a hot dog, not a hot dog? This is what we call classification, saying something about the image. Is this image of what? If you want to go inside and to understand deeper, you want to say, or actually to ask, what inside the image and where? For this question, we're starting to see or to use the technique called object detection. You want to understand and to locate object in the image, to say, here I have a cat, here I have a dog, here I have a port, here I have an RJ45 connection, and so on and so on. But it's more aimed toward the general concept, like a dog in general. If you want to connect it to a more practical way and you want to do an unboxing or to try to help someone to resolve some issue, the issue could be unboxing, the issue could be troubleshooting. So you don't want to just locate the device or the subcomponent of it. You try and you want to analyze his status or his situation, meaning, is it connected or not? Is the LED turned on or not? Is it blinking? What color is it blink? Is it blink fast? Is it blink slow? So all of those questions, you need more sophisticated algorithm, more aimed toward the area of what we call the semantic segmentation in combination or instance segmentation. There's lots of names in the area to use this kind of activity, but mainly You want to analyze the subcomponent of an item in the image and to get his situation of it. And this is the most practical way that you can use and consume visual AI. And you can aggregate a bunch of components in one image to say, is this job verified? Meaning if all the ports are connected and a certain LED is turned on in green. And this is the way that most, the vast majority of use cases consume visual AI.
Okay, so to recap, I'm just going to summarize that because while we were quite technical there, there's different levels of how deep somebody wants to go with computer vision or visual AI. OCR, or the ability, as you said, to read text in an image, is the most basic. This is technology that's been around for 30 or 40 years. The next level, or a few generations forward, is being able to identify what specific object, down to the make and model, is in this image. But often, in order to be practical, in order to help a user unbox or set up their device, or onboard to a service, or to help a technician understand, did I do the job correctly before they leave the job site? There we're talking about another layer of analysis that doesn't just identify this is the object in front of me, but these are the settings. These are the lights that are lit up. These are the lights that are blinking. These are the cables plugged into which port. And then it can tell them, yes, everything is set up, or no, the reason you can't connect to the internet, the reason your Bluetooth isn't working is because these settings are not on. And that's another layer deeper. And for those of you that may be unfamiliar, this is why we launched our VI Studio, which is a no-code AI studio that within a few days, you can stand up these highly customized AI models. Now, as we talk about, we've spoken a lot about these really far out ideas and many ideas that are actually very practical. So bringing this down to its most practical level, Haggai, let's turn this to you as we look to close this out. What are some of the best practices for making AI accessible? Customers don't necessarily care about the fact that you're using visual AI. How do you make this something that customers will want to, or agents or field technicians will actually use, such that you see the benefits of automation?
Okay. When it comes to end users at the house or field technicians, they really couldn't care less about how cool is AI or how deep in depth is the technology going through. They don't care about the insights. They care about the value. When you build the solution, it doesn't matter how much technology you throw in. It could be generative AI, it can be OCR, it can be visual AI, it can be a bunch of natural language or LLMs or whatever. You need to make it eventually, from a product perspective, a very simple, clear value to the customer, okay? Plug this cable here. This means that you have no connection, you need to call a technician. This means that everything is wired correctly or not. You need to keep it really simple. Think about the revolution of ChatGPT, with generative AI. It feels natural. You can't even tell how much technology is there behind the scenes. And quite frankly, as an end user, you don't care. You just want to focus on the value. Verify what your customer needs, what they want to do or aim at achieving, and keep it simple. Think about the problem that chatbots suffer from today. When you reach a chatbot with your bank, insurance, internet provider, whatever, the only thing that you're trying to do is to get to a human, because it's so frustrating, okay? It doesn't give you enough value. There has to be a clear, simple, articulated value that you can do something with. That's the main motivation when you build the right product.
Okay, so I think you actually dealt with the first question we have here, which is how should we think, for somebody that, hold on, I'll just read you the question exactly. What are the practical first steps you would recommend to a service team that hasn't started investing in AI? I think you just nailed it, which is we want to start with the end. Start with what is your objective, right?
Yeah.
Understand our goal is to automate X, Y, and Z. And now ask, so what are our users, what do they want? How can we automate it in a way that that they'll come along for the ride, that they'll use this automation? And then I would encourage you, and I want to open this to the two of you as well, to reach out to us, reach out to other providers in the market and understand what is the state of the art, what is possible, how can you get started? Okay, my advice at least would be, don't spend too much time thinking about every possibility under the sun for what you wish the technology could do, but go out there and have conversations, because you may be surprised at how far the technology has come and what is and isn't easily accessible. So Guy, what about bringing this to the customers? So how do you think about bringing them into a specialized environment for an AI interaction versus bringing this to them in the tools they're already using?
Every extra effort that you would ask an end user to do would create churn. Meaning the goal that in your existing self-service channels, it can be your Facebook Messenger bot, it can be your WhatsApp, it could be your Telegram, your website chat, whatever. Make it seamless in there, okay? Hide the technology at the backend level behind the scene, but eventually for customers, it should be really simple where they are already today. Just due to the technology, don't impose extra overhead for your end users because they don't care how cool the technology is. They just want to resolve the issue. That's it. They are not there to work for you. They are not there to test the technology. They want clear, simple value. They came to register their warranty. They came to check why their TV is not working well. They came to check what's broken in the wall or with their car. And they want a simple, clear answer. The more frustrating and longer you make the journey for them, the more chances it is that they will start seeking humans, a real human to speak with, because this is where chatbots are failing today. They are overcomplicating it, so the end user just reach out to someone human so they can explain to them just in simple words, listen, that's all I need. Who can help me? Bridge over this gap. Don't make it frustrating.
Okay. And Renan, any closing advice?
Yeah, it's like completing what Hagai just mentioned. At the end of the day, in my perspective, AI is basically a means to an end. You just need to understand what your ends is and what you're trying to do, and then get the best AI solution, visual AI, to serve your need. Don't try to invest to overthink, like you said, John. It's an end to a need. A needs to an end. Just understand what you need.
Yeah, keep in mind, technology has changed. Your users didn't. They still suffer the same issues. They are still trying to describe to some sort of chatbot or human what they see and what they experience. Always keep in mind this gap. Technology has evolved. The users, in most cases, stay the same. Humans with the same issues. Now bridge over
Sure.
this gap.
So we actually have two more questions. How does this interface with ERP solutions like SAP, Oracle, and Microsoft? Are there APIs? Are there integrations? Are there plugins? What do you see in terms of how the big platforms are approaching this and the solutions that we can provide?
So if you take Microsoft as an example, Microsoft took a strategic decision to incorporate OpenAI in most of their products right now around Dynamics, around Bing, around Azure Bot, in most of their clouds on Azure. You can find it there. So they went on their strategy on wherever you will go inside Azure, OpenAI is there, but they did it in a very smart way, at least the way I see it. It doesn't just generate an OpenAI application. It just completes the existing interfaces. So you can still use Microsoft LUIS, meaning language understanding, and Microsoft Q&A, and the Microsoft bot framework, and now combine also OpenAI inside. So Microsoft is already there. They took a very strategic approach that OpenAI will be a very natural part in their existing interface. That's at least for Microsoft.
And in terms of the visual angle, is this something that we see increasingly being integrated into those types of environments?
If you take a look at the big companies that are doing today computer vision AI on the cloud, you are talking about Google Cloud Vision, you're talking about AWS Recognition, you're talking about Azure Cognitive Service, like the 3 big names on the market. These are the ones. Today, they can just say what they see inside the image for the images they already know. Okay, they are still lacking the ability to learn from what customers have or technicians are handling on the field. This is one of the missing key aspects. Right now, when you call a support center that uses Microsoft Dynamics and they use Microsoft Teams for visual interaction with their customers, the Microsoft Teams videos or images that are exchanged during the sessions are not being used at all for Azure Cognitive. So this is still a missing link that we see with Microsoft, with Google, with AWS and others. The ability to convert the support time or technician field time into AI raw material that you can actually use later on, okay? Or to actually learn something from these sessions and then incorporate it into your self-service channels. So this part is not there yet. They need to work on it.
And to close, I think a lot of the solutions that we've been talking about today, in terms of what we offer at TechC with visual intelligence, closes that gap. It's to make those technologies easily available and accessible. And again, that's whether, it's through an app, whether that's through our own visual journeys or automated flows, etc. So I do want to close it here. Thank you all for joining us. If you have any further questions, we look forward to speaking with you offline, and anybody else who I do see we have a few more questions in here. We will contact you offline so that we can end the webinar, but we will contact you offline to discuss that further. So thank you very much, everybody, and have a great day. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you all.
Bye.
Thank you all.
Bye-bye.